In June of this year, 2020, I received a request. Could I possibly run Leagues of Adventure? Well, I really enjoy running Leagues of Adventure, so that's kind of like a twist my arm kind of situation. But my initial reaction was, I'd love to run it, but there's probably no way that we're going to find a group of people who can meet all at the same time. However, we did find a time. Not only that, we had enough fun for that first one that we decided to get together for another. And then that was enough fun that we thought, do you want to play a campaign? And it took off. And we have now played 4 sessions of the campaign. So we played 6 sessions together in total. We haven't been able to meet every week, but we've met for most of them. And this Leagues of Adventure campaign is what I describe on the channel as vanilla. Although this time it would be more like saying, I don't know, French vanilla, a type of vanilla. But the intention is that you're not making major changes. You're playing the game that you could get out of the core book, kind of thing. So it's Leagues of Adventure. It's not Leagues of Gothic Horror. It's not Leagues of Cthulhu. It's not Leagues of Adventure without weird science or with weird magic or, something like that. It's Leagues of Adventure, full stop. And I'm having a great time. So the first ones, we were just playing to play. Let's just play. Right? So nothing was recorded. None of the usual stuff which happens on this channel for play was done, like commentary videos or things like that. We just played. So that was a refreshing change. Kind of getting back to just playing. One of the reasons why I like to share actual play videos on the channel is to show actual play, which is just play, and it's not performative, it's not performance. It's sometimes we do it for demonstration, like this is how to play this game. We do it with commentary and things like that, but sometimes it models learning. So we stop during play and we talk about a rule or whatever, so that we ourselves can learn it, and people who invest their time in watching the video can learn along with us, or at least become more familiar. In this case, we're playing just to show off the game, and it has been hosted since we started streaming, which was, of course, the second session of the campaign. We didn't record the first session. So if you're wondering what happened in it, you'll have to rely on Eloy's recap. Eloy's been kind enough to do a recap at the beginning of every session. And he makes them entertaining. It's not a usual recap. So when we decided that we did want to record them, we did want to share them, and in a sense as promotion for Leagues of Adventure. They were hosted on the Triple Ace Games Facebook page, and they're still there. You can go and watch them as they happen. I have copied them, and I'm going to be releasing them on this channel slowly. I'm going to do 2 versions. Just the live game, so you can watch that. And then I'll release an edited version with commentary about rules points, about how preparation and improvisation are working in this campaign, and things about the setting, things about our session 0 and what we agreed on, and that sort of stuff. So I hope you'll find that interesting. And remember, we're starting with session 2, and your only insight into session 1 is Eloy's excellent recap. He takes notes, but he also has an excellent memory. So I hope you'll enjoy joining me as the Game Master in a Victorian era of our own devising. And Robin Elliot, one of the owners and bright lights of Triple Ace Games, Eloy Cintron, Umbramancer, and Ivan Podgwaite, Ivanmike1968. No strangers to ubiquity are they. Join us for our Leagues of Adventure campaign. The sky is no limit. Now, what do I mean by the setting being a Victorian era of our own devising, or a Victorian era of optimism and possibility? Well, this is a setting wherein very unusual science is possible. Science so strange it can seem improbable, or like super science, or the like. We can posit that time machines could be real or are about to become real. We have things like we have modern analogs of, or past analogs, steam pulp analogs of modern devices. We have crazy things like anti-gravity paint. We have science that should not exist, and yet in a pulp milieu, of course, they exist. And it's part of the fun. So in this setting, science is not real science. It's really indistinguishable from magic. It's something that's not completely understood even by its practitioners. And you have people who want to ban it and outlaw it just like magic would be. And you have people who think that it needs to at least be regulated. And you have people who think that we need to explore more because we're on the cusp of great discovery. But in this kind of world, certain attitudes need to change because of the presence of this kind of possibility. And so this is a Victorian era where, yes, Britain is an empire, but it's an empire of the willing. It's Britain extending its reach around the world, but not as a conquering hand, as a welcoming one where the enlightenment of early scientific development, perhaps impossible scientific development, has opened people's eyes to the idea that people are people. And something so trivial as skin tone should not be a deciding factor in anything other than perhaps how much sunscreen you wear. So this is an empire that doesn't go out and find nations that are considered to be backward or primitive or savage. It doesn't have the delusion of that anymore. But it does recognize that the conditions in which people live can be improved, either abroad or at home. This is an empire of true reciprocity, cultural, academic, social. It is, of course, utter fantasy. As a species, we are nowhere near mature enough to behave in this fashion, but the only thing that's stopping us from behaving that way is ourselves. So yes, in our leagues of adventure, our adventurers are not conquerors of backward countries' ignorance. They are explorers of what those countries have to teach us, and they are sharers of what they themselves have to offer. It doesn't mean that this is a world without conflict, because there are still nations. There are other empires. There are other beliefs. We have left a lot of problems. This is a world where if academic ability, if education and raw intelligence are a mark of success rather than race or blood or ancestry or something baseless like that, then the mark of that, or the stain of that on our setting, is that if one isn't performing at one's best ability, if one isn't inventing, discovering, exploring, pushing, right, opening new boundaries, if you're just content to be led, then there will be a growing gap. And so it is that our setting puts our characters in a position of a hungry drive for more, a hungry drive to be more, to improve their rank, to improve their position, to improve their reach. And there lies our tension. So, like I said, I hope you'll enjoy joining us for The Sky is No Limit. It's action, adventure, discovery, comedy, improbable science, and heroism. I'm having a great time, and I hope by sharing these videos, you have a great time too. And if you come away from it with a desire to play one of the many Ubiquity games, that would be nice. Hollow Earth Expedition, Desolation, All for One, Regime Diabolique, Leagues of Adventure, Leagues of Gothic Horror, Leagues of Cthulhu, Quantum Black, Space 1889, and if you're into ponies, Roan. So, join me. Let the adventure begin.